Hey everybody, welcome to another week of the Nerd Herder Show. My name is Nick.
I'm Rich.
And today is the first day of the week, so we start off the week with the same thing every week.
Yeah.
And that is movie news.
Yeah.
Well, news in general.
News.
But
it's going to be a different kind of a news week.
Yes.
If you don't know, E3, the big video game conference, is coming up. So video game news has been light to non-existent.
Plus, we had a holiday weekend in there. That always throws stuff off.
So we're not going to have a video game news. It's just going to be the movie news. But our discussion this week is going to be our E3 predictions. So if you are here for video game news or video game stuff, check that out on Wednesday.
Yep, that'll be there.
And then tomorrow, Tuesday, you can check out our very first beer review. We've been doing beer reviews on the show for a while.
More or less.
Kind of, yeah. Just little brief things at the beginning of the weeks. And now we're going to do full-length beer reviews. In-depth by professionals, self-proclaimed, semi-experts.
Yeah, I mean, there's like the Malcolm Gladwell rule of if you spend 10,000 hours practicing anything, then you can become great at it or whatever. That's exactly how he wrote it. But I think that would go if you've had like 10,000 beers, then you'd be an expert, and maybe we're close. I've never counted.
No, so we could be.
Maybe.
Prove us wrong.
Yeah.
But you can check that out tomorrow. But until then,
what
are we drinking
today? Of the
today?
week, so let's start off with the beer of the week.
Okay.
Which this week is from Weyerbacher. Is that how you would say Weyerbacher? We have the Tiny. It's got a little lion on it. It's a Belgian style imperial stout.
This is an 11.8%.
Oh my lord!
This is gonna be a week. You guys are in for a week.
Oh my lord! It's got a cool lion on it. He's another animal that would get shot if a kid decided to go into his pen.
That happened.
With a lion?
Yeah, the guy tried to kill himself and he jumped into the lion's pen.
There you go. Did
I think that happened. They shot the lions.
There was also, wasn't it a lion too that dentist killed? In Africa, like last summer, and
Probably.
It was a big deal.
I know. I always see those Facebook posts of this person shot this animal. I don't know what's real and what's not anymore.
Well, the gorilla thing definitely happened.
Well, yeah, the gorilla
this
thing
lion,
happened.
It would also get shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You also might get shot if you took this bottle of beer with a lion on it and cracked it and tried to attack somebody. You might get shot then too.
Or if you tried to use the lion bottle to attack a lion.
That's true.
You both might get shot.
You know who else got shot?
Who?
The creator of that PBS show Between the Lions. Maybe.
Prove us wrong.
All right, so let's go ahead and try it. The Tiny.
Yep.
11.8%.
Oh. Oh.
It's got a little bit of a kick.
That's got a lot of a kick.
Okay.
Oh. You guys are in for a fun episode.
Yeah. All right. So, anyway, we'll talk more about it as we try more. But let's get into it. Let's get into this week's movie news. I chose the stories this week.
Yeah. So what do you got?
All right. Well, let's start with some comic book movie news.
Okay.
Something that we talk about nearly every week here on the show. First of which is, do you want to start with DC or Marvel?
Let's go Marvel. We've talked a lot about DC recently.
Okay. Well, we got a little bit of a possible confirmation on a bit more of what Thor Ragnarok might be about. So there's been some rumors for a while that we know that the Hulk is in it, and that there had been some rumors that it might dip into the famous storyline of Planet Hulk a little bit. And this has been something that people have wanted a Hulk solo film to do basically since the MCU started. And they kept saying, well, we're not going to make a Hulk standalone movie, so don't hold your breath. But it seems like now we're going to get that. So there was a report that suggested that this is going to be part of it. Basically, for those who don't know what Planet Hulk is, it was this whole storyline in the comics maybe 8 years ago now, where the Hulk gets banished away from Earth by basically the masterminds, the geniuses of the Marvel Universe. So it was like Reed Richards, Professor Xavier, a couple of the other smart guys. That's not what's happening in this. But anyway, he gets blasted into space. He lands on this planet that has like a gladiator-type planet. And he gets thrown into these like gladiator-type games. He ends up winning, ruling the planet, and then comes back to Earth leading that army to seek revenge in something called World War Hulk.
Wow.
This is going to loosely follow that, but I think that it is going to take Thor and him to a planet where they are forced to fight in gladiator-type matches. He's got this classic like Hulk armor where he has like this cool like shoulder spiky like thing that the Hulk wore in that event, and it said that he will have that in the movie.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds cool, but it also sounds like Thor is going to be part of those fights, and they said like even like it's going to be a new look for Thor, like his head's going to be shaved and stuff like that. This all sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, I'm on board. Like this sounds, they're putting them more into the galactic space.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But I mean, like, you had Guardians, and you had this build up to Thanos and all this stuff. Like, at one point, this needs to actually leave Earth and start, getting out there.
Definitely, this has been described as a cosmic road trip.
Yeah.
It sounds cool.
The hijinks just happen to be a gladiator planet, and
yeah, I mean, I'm down for some gladiator space alien battles. We kind of got that in John Carter, but most people didn't see that.
Yeah, so they can do it here.
Controversial opinion? I like that movie.
I've never seen it.
Not the disaster it was made out to be. And you know what I have not seen that also gets thrown into that with Disney, but I hear frequently is actually pretty good? The Lone Ranger.
I did not see that one either.
Neither have I. I hope to see it someday. But anyway, that's the Marvel news. So over to DC, we got confirmation, first of all, that Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor will indeed return in Justice League. There was some talk that he was not sure if he would actually play the part again after BVS.
I always assumed he was probably under contract to do more, and
yep.
They gotta build their universe.
He'll be back, so not much of a comment. He was very divisive performance for people in that movie. Some people really liked it, some people didn't.
I liked him.
I didn't really. So, we'll see. But I think it would be weird if he didn't play a part.
Yeah.
Continuing in this.
Because clearly he's building to something bigger.
The other interesting news about the DC universe is, before I get to that part,
okay.
I don't think we ever talked about the fact that a couple weeks ago it was revealed that a Harley Quinn standalone movie. We talked about this?
Yeah, we talked about that.
Never mind. Go back and watch that episode. Anyway, Jeremy Irons, who plays Alfred in BVS and ongoing, came out with some comments just yesterday saying that he thought that the bad reviews and bad reception to BVS was totally warranted, and he thought the movie was a bit of a mess. And he said, but he has hope for Justice League because the script is a lot more linear. So, I appreciate his honesty.
Yeah.
I appreciate that while in the midst of filming the sequel with the same director and same writer, he had the balls to say, yeah, that last one we did kind of sucked. But I think that this is kind of maybe not the way that Warner Brothers wants to approach it, with someone so keenly involved admitting that it kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But I would imagine there will be a lot of we're sorries when it comes to the marketing and advertising of
it's going to be a lot of, look, we're doing it right this time.
We know the mistakes we made. Because Man of Steel was widely not respected, and they didn't do that with BVS. It was a lot of Zack Snyder being like, people didn't understand, the true fans of Superman know what we did. And he was wrong, and I don't think they can do that again. But we'll see. But I appreciate Jeremy Irons' honesty. That's kind of the news of it, that he kind of admitted that
I think that's cool. I don't totally believe that Justice League is going to...
I don't believe it at all.
See how it's going to be more linear, considering they still really haven't established these characters. Right?
Yeah.
That hits you.
Yeah.
Unless it's literally like a Seven Samurai type thing where they're just kind of going from place to place and gathering up these people. And
maybe.
We'll see.
We don't know. We will see. All right, next bit of news. While discussing their current upcoming sequel to the Ninja Turtles, Out of the Shadows, producer Brad Fuller from Platinum Dunes commented on one of their upcoming horror films, which is the next Friday the 13th movie, and part of his comments were that it will be another reboot of the series and show the origin, and it will be drastically different, blah, 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 blah. So, Platinum Dunes made a Friday the 13th movie. Not too long ago, maybe
2009.
Yeah, so 6 years or whatever, almost 7.
7.
But we're gonna get that origin story again. What are your thoughts? You're a big horror fan. I'm sure
I
you're
am.
a Friday the 13th fan.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I actually kind of enjoy the Platinum Dunes Friday the 13th.
I liked that.
I've never looked at that as a reboot. It's always
no. That just starts off right in the woods and campers. And
well, they do a flashback in the beginning of the mother and stuff, like in black and white. Excuse me. Like in the credits, it's like a rainy, like black and white flashback of like when Pamela Voorhees comes in and like does all this stuff at the end of the first one. But I've never looked. It's always felt like more of just another Friday the 13th sequel, not a reboot. I don't know why we would need a reboot. Just keep it going.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's just the fear that today's audience is not familiar with the characters.
I guess, but I mean,
why do you have to see? You don't have to see that again. Even if you just want to do, even though they've done this in other ones of that, just have some campers by a campfire, recalling the legend of what they know. I mean, isn't that one of them starts out that way, and it literally shows like everything that happened in the previous movies, like right? It's like the 4th or 5th one.
One of them.
It's like, all right, yeah.
But then also something that like maybe his father's gonna be in it too.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like drastically different.
I mean, I'm interested.
I'm not opposed to it. It's just kind of like, do we need it again? Here's another thing that people keep wondering if we need again.
Okay.
Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd, who is, of course, one of the stars of the original Ghostbusters series, as well as the writer of the original 2 films, came out. He has seen the new Ghostbusters, and he came out with some comments saying that it was great. It's funnier and scarier than the original. That's what his comments were. So obviously someone, maybe more than almost anyone else, probably more than anyone else, has lived and breathed Ghostbusters. And these were his comments. And of course, he is like an executive producer on the movie, so it benefits him if the movie does well.
Sure.
So he could say whatever he wanted. And Lord knows Dan Aykroyd is no stranger to just talking.
Yeah.
And how long was he saying this would get made? Not like this, even the third one. But if he's being genuine and honest, it's a good sign.
Could be. Like you said, it could be just Dan Aykroyd just kind of talking, or... I mean... I love his work, but it's the last really good thing he's done or been a part of. Evolution.
No. Yeah, no, it's been a really long time. I mean, I don't even have an example.
Nothing But Trouble.
No.
I mean...
Pearl Harbor.
It's like when, like, Friedkin comes out and says, oh yeah, this movie is scarier than The Exorcist. It's like, can we still trust you?
Most movies are scarier than The Exorcist. The Exorcist is an amazing movie, but most movies are scarier than that. All right. That's the story anyway. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see.
Again, like, with this movie, we know nothing until we know something.
Exactly. And, I sound pessimistic and judgmental, but I'm keeping an open mind. I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
But I'm...
Couple more stories here.
Okay.
It looks... We talked a bit about this last week or the week before, but it looks more and more likely every day that Daniel Craig is actually done playing Bond. And we got a report in the past week that it's not just that people want Tom Hiddleston to be Bond. It's not just that there are rumors that Tom Hiddleston might be Bond. It has been reported that Tom Hiddleston has actually met to play Bond.
I've seen two different reports. I've seen Tom Hiddleston and somebody, I can't remember the other actor's name.
Yeah, there was Jamie Bell.
Yeah.
That seemed more rumory. Apparently there was Variety reported, which is more than that Page 6 or whatever in London. They're more confirmed that Tom Hiddleston has actually entered the negotiation stage of possibly playing the next Bond. So then my question to you would be, do you want Tom Hiddleston to be the next Bond?
I do and I don't. I think he would be very good playing Bond, but I also don't want that to preoccupy all of his time and have him be under a 5-6 movie contract, and because he's so good at playing different things and he's very versatile, and I wouldn't want that to take away from because Craig hasn't really done much since he's been Bond. He did the Dragon Tattoo.
He hasn't. I mean, he did Tintin, Dragon Tattoo. He did Defiance. He did that.
I forgot about
Ghost House thing.
Oh yeah.
He has certainly worked. I think Daniel Craig is more somebody who doesn't really want to work when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why it is more and more likely that he is not returning is he just officially signed on to a Showtime limited series that has a 20-episode run over
I didn't know that.
Over 2 seasons. That was today. So the amount of time that is projected that will eat up, on top of the fact that he doesn't really like to do much work in between these, suggests that he will not be returning. That would not fit into the contracts.
Sure.
And the filming of a Bond movie. I think that somebody else. I think that Craig made actually more movies than you would think in between, and somebody more inclined to continue working would be able to do more. I mean, you see what some of these Marvel people do in between.
That's true.
It's like,
that's fair.
So, I think Hiddleston would be really good. I think my ideal choice would have been, if this had happened maybe 4 years ago and not now, Fassbender would have been my number one choice, especially after you see how he was in something like, I can't think of the name of it, the Soderbergh movie, Haywire. How he was in that movie, he was very much like he was a British secret agent, essentially, and he was very Bond-like.
See, I'd be interested to see how Hiddleston plays it, because he typically plays more villainous characters a little bit, or like the I'm charming, but I've also like these ulterior choking, excuse me, like ulterior motives sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that translates. If he can.
Have you watched any of Night Manager yet?
No.
Which is over.
Oh, that's the Hugh Laurie one that he did with
Hugh Laurie, John Le Carre.
Okay. I haven't seen that. I want to.
It is a spy show, and he plays a spy. So I haven't watched it yet. It's all on the DVR.
Where'd that air on?
It was here on AMC. But
AMC,
it was
okay.
over there on the BBC or whatever.
Oh yeah. It looked good.
Yeah, no, it should be a pretty good show, but that might offer some hint. I saw some Brit that I follow on Twitter today like tweeted out like there already is an amazing Tom Hiddleston Bond movie, and it's called The Night Manager or something like that. So I don't know.
I'm interested.
It looks like it might happen. All right, last story of the week is a big one. We found out. Well, it has not been made official, I don't think, for sure. Really?
I thought it was like official.
Disney has, one way or another, there are reports, maybe it's real, that Rogue One is going to have a month of reshoots this summer, Star Wars Rogue One, and the rumory parts of this is because Disney executives are unhappy with director Gareth Edwards' cut of the film. They saw the first cut, and that's what we know. So, interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. We might have breaking news. But that distracted me.
Sorry. Disney hasn't confirmed it.
Disney hasn't confirmed it. Reshoots are very common for Hollywood movies. We've talked about some reshoots with in recent weeks with the Suicide Squad reshoots that people were like, is this a bad sign? And then it was they're adding more humor, and then they came out and were like, we're actually adding more action, and David Ayer was like, it's a good thing, blah, blah, blah. With this, we don't know what this would mean. While reshoots are very common, a month-long reshoot is a lot.
I mean, Force Awakens had reshoots too, didn't it?
Probably. Most movies do.
Yeah.
You realize you don't have the coverage you quite needed, or, something just didn't work out right, et cetera, et cetera. But a month long is...
That's a lot. I'm trying to see if it was
very long time. But we'll have to see. I mean, am I worried about this news? Not yet. There have been more of the reports coming out are saying that it's not that Disney is actually unhappy with the film itself, but what they feel is the tone is just too serious.
Yeah. Which...
Maybe it won't be as jokey as Force Awakens was, but it needs to be somewhere in between where it's at now. But do you need a month for that? There's also rumors that...
Unless you're going to really alter...
There's rumors that they're going to introduce the young Han Solo that will be in the spin-off film, now played by Alden Ehrenreich, in it. I could see them doing that, but I also feel like it's not like a Marvel movie where you have to introduce Black Panther before his movie in Civil War, so the public knows who Black Panther is and why they should be excited. It's Han Solo. Everybody knows who Han Solo is. You put somebody that's dressed as Han Solo next to Chewbacca in film and people will get what it is. I don't know if you need to introduce him in something. That almost seems like it might be just distracting in the middle of Rogue One if a new person is playing Han Solo and then you're like, wait, who's this Han Solo now? Whereas if you just make a Han Solo movie and then we have the marketing leading up to it, it won't be shocking when we see someone new playing the part.
Do you want to read the update on the story for Rogue One?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
So it has been confirmed, according to the Hollywood Reporter, which confirmed the original report. One source describes the cut as having the feel of a war movie. The goal of the reshoots will be to lighten the mood, bring some levity into the story, and restore a sense of fun to the adventure.
See, that's so weird because they have literally always described this movie as a war movie. That's literally exactly what they said it was going to be a year and a half ago. So they're shocked that it's what they've been saying it would be.
Well, the source, I guess, also claims that it I don't know if this is spoilers or not. I'm not going to read it. And then, there's one rumor of having, Han Solo show up. But... I don't know. See, maybe it's just too dark. So it's too heavy.
Is if Han Solo actually shows up in this movie, and then you assume we know what this movie's about. Rogue One is about them stealing the Death Star plans, so that at the start of A New Hope, when Princess Leia's on the ship that has the Star Wars plans, that she, that's how they got them.
Yeah.
That's how they have the information. But if Han Solo shows up in that, then... is the Han Solo movie going to be a prequel to even his appearance in that? Because if it's not, then you're not giving yourself any amount of time in between seeing him in that and when they see him in the cantina to go on adventures. So you're going to introduce him and then go, that's him, that's the new Han Solo, and what you're seeing now is even before that happened. What's the point of that?
Yeah, that's weird.
That's really odd. Are you worried about this?
Maybe a little, but again, we've only seen that minute and a half teaser.
That was great.
But teasers, as we've known, can always be super misleading, and so who knows? I don't know. I mean, there's a difference between having a war movie tone to it, but if it's like too dark and too heavy. And I could see them wanting to lighten it up a little bit, but as long as it's not...
As long as it still fits the vision that the filmmaker had.
Yeah.
And the writers had. And they had when they decided to make this story. Then I'm fine with it. But, again, even when we talked about the teaser, when we did the special episode about that, and you can go back and watch it, youtube.com/overabeer. Even then we said, with the caveat that Godzilla had amazing trailers and that movie wasn't very good, and this is the same director. So maybe he just didn't make a good movie.
It's possible.
And they're going to try and patch that up.
Because a month is
It's a significant amount of time. For those who want to know, I think Memento, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, I believe had a 16-day shoot. So it is reshooting double the amount of time that a lot of, granted, smaller but still Hollywood films take to make.
But you imagine, this is a lot more effects driven and things like that, and scope, and you gotta
much it's going to be an expensive endeavor to get all of that cast and all that crew back together for a month-long shoot. How big of changes do they think they need to make to recoup and build on that added expense?
That's what's
it's very odd.
The reshoots are fine. The fact that it's so long is what's concerning.
We'll see.
But it could make it better.
Of course. The classic example, and some people still don't really like the movie, but all of the stuff that they added to World War Z truly did save that movie. It ended up being massively successful, and honestly, I think the entire third act was bold and interesting in that movie.
I can see it.
You never saw it. But all the stuff that they added and that they brought...
Yeah, but that was when they had a lot of reshoots and stuff,
Oh, yeah, very, very big reshoots, maybe longer than that. But, I don't know. It's potentially a bad news.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm going to keep the faith.
Yeah, I am too.
We don't know. Like I said with Ghostbusters, we don't know till we know. All right, that's this week's movie news. You can find more of our thoughts on movie news on Twitter. I tweet at Stonks.
I tweet at Rich Belson, and the channel is on Twitter at OABeer_official. You can also email us if you would like at overabeerofficial@gmail.com, and find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. We're on Instagram as well, over_a_beer, and of course we're on YouTube, youtube.com/overabeer. And don't forget, tomorrow it's our very first beer review, full beer review. So we'll have that up for you tomorrow, the day after this airs, on whatever date that's going to be. And then Friday will be our very first Over a Beer podcast.
Oh.
That will be going live as well. So you can stay tuned for that on Friday. But that will wrap things up for today. So until next time, drink up.